Welcome back to a farm west of boring, where life is anything but boring. Well, this is the beginning of heat week here in Oregon, and we're expecting temperatures in the upper 90s, even maybe into the triple digits for several days this week. In fact, I think through Friday. It's Monday, and we're going to get cooking on the chicken coop. Got to put some strapping down on the roof rafters and look into getting the roofing put on. But I have to get going early, although it's 8:30. That's not so early, but it's still fairly cool. It's going to be about 80 by noon, and so that probably will be the end of my day. So thank you for coming along. Let's go and see what we can do. Are you guys ready for your new home? We're going to have it done here pretty fast. And then you're going to be moved down to your new mansion. Well, today I'm going to start working on roofing for our new chicken coop. And I just wanted to point out, in the last video I think I mentioned that this building right here used to be the chicken house when we first moved to this farm in 1955. It was really quite a mess. There was probably, my recollection is there was about 6 inches of chicken droppings on the floor in that whole building there. That had to get cleaned out. I think I said in the last video that maybe the 6 inches of chicken droppings were still in there, but no, they got cleaned out back in 1955 or 56. Now that metal roof is a replacement roof that I put on there when I was 16 years old, and so that's quite a few years ago. It used to have a cedar shingle roof, and we were debating replacing the shingles. And I looked at it as a 16-year-old and said, man alive, that's a lot of work. Tear off all those shingles and then put on new shingles, that's a lot of work. So why don't we go get some metal? We'll go get some metal and put on there. And so that's what we did. As you can see, there's quite a patina on it now. It's pretty well rusted, but the metal is still in pretty good shape. It's not leaking. It's been a good shop building for us for all these years. Also, the metal siding was added by me probably late 1970s, something like that. We put that metal cladding on the building. But today, this is my adventure, is getting some strapping on that roof down there on that chicken coop and see if we can get some metal on there. Oh boy, it's already going to be warm. Yeah, it's going to be a hot one. Okay, so we have the strapping on the roof. There's more bracing put on in the corners and some 2x4 nailers for the siding up underneath the gable ends. We've got a couple more 2x4s put on the other side, and then I think we're ready for roofing and siding. And from that point, we should be pretty good. But it's noon, the temperatures are rising, and I'm pretty much done for the day working out here in the hot sun. So that's enough for today. We're going to go inside and sit by the air conditioner, have a cool drink of cold water and maybe some lunch. And then we'll be back at it tomorrow morning, and we'll see if we can't get that roofing on tomorrow. Thank you for coming along on our chicken coop build, and we'll see you again. Bye. I've decided I'll put screws in every other piece of strapping. So I've added a chalk line where every screw should go and measured that so that we can pre-drill the holes and make sure that the screws will line up with a strap. So there'll be one at the top, the first one down, third one down, fifth one down, and then the eve one. Now it comes the problem in how to make sure that we get these roofing panels on here perfectly straight. I think I pre-measured, and I think it was 116 was the overall length. Yeah, so it's about 116 is the overall length. But I guess if we pre-drill the holes and then we line up the holes with the chalk line, we should end up pretty straight. It's got to be square too. I'm not an expert at putting on this kind of roofing. I did do that roof up there when I was 16. Didn't know what I was doing. Looks like we need some gutter repair there. Yeah, that's where the whole gutter leaks. So we're gonna have to get up there and repair that gutter. But this one here is a little bit different. This has the this is 36 inch with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ribs. Ribs are spaced 9 inches apart, and so overall from one side to the other, when you overlap them, you get 36 inches. So those are 144 inches long. We'll cut them down to 116, and then drill some holes. Put a eve metal on here, and then we'll see if we can't get them lined up. Okay, since we're going to be putting this 3-inch drip edge on here, we have to can't have the ladder laying up against here, because then it will hit the metal. Can't get the metal on right. What I do is I'll put a couple 2x, so a couple 2x's there to hold the ladder out, and then that way the metal can fit on there without hitting the ladder. So the trick will be getting this first piece of metal on and get it nice and straight and square with the roof. So I guess I'll work on that. Okay, so here's another one of my little tricks. This I learned from one of the workers with my dad's company years ago. And I would always come in and take a nail like this and hook onto the nail with my hammer and try to yank it out like this. The problem is that you lose your leverage about at this point here. You're really losing your leverage. And there's times when you're taking a nail out and it just won't come out. You just can't get enough leverage. You can always put a 2x block under the hammer here. It gives you a little bit more leverage. But he showed me this trick, and I've used it quite a few times. In fact, I started using it on this nail here. And that is to put the hammer in like that and then alternate between going this way and then slide it in again, and then alternate and then come this way. That gives you quite a bit more leverage right down here as opposed to from here to here or the very head of the hammer. So it helps pull out these nails. Just a little trick. Most of you probably already use that quite often. I have done a 3, 4, 5 right angle on here. So starting from that screw right down there, I went ahead and made a line 3 5/8 up from the fascia board to that nail over there by that knot. So then that's 8 feet. And that line, hopefully that line's pretty much straight with the fascia board. I did it all the way down to the end. So that's 8 feet. Then from that screw I went up this way 6 feet, which just happened to be the bottom of that strapping there. So then I took my tape measure and measured from that nail up to the bottom of that strap, and right where that red line is now, that was 10 feet. So this was 6 feet here, 8 feet across the bottom, and 10 feet on the diagonal, and that gives me pretty much a right angle. And it looks like it's pretty true, at least at the ends, it's pretty true up the sides here. So it looks like the roof is pretty square. It may not be exact, but it's pretty square. So if I line up my drip edge with that line down there, and then my first row of roofing, line it up with this line, I should end up with a right angle. It should go pretty smooth. Okay, so for this first piece of drip edge, I've got to wrap it. I want to wrap it around this corner. So I've made a cut with my yellow aviation snips 2 inches in here. So I'll bend, and also made a little notch down there. So I'll bend this around the corner, and then this one will go down over the top. And I've got my hand seamer that'll help me. Okay, so there we go. Bend that back. And bend it up first to get a crease on it. Now what I have to be careful about is when I let that other end off of that nail down there, I don't want that other end flying down and then bending this piece of metal. So there, I think that's going to do it. And then we'll have a piece, an edge piece coming down the barge board here. Okay, so my drip edge is 1.5 inches off the red line down at that end. So at this end, boy, that's just 1.5 inches right there. Let's nail it. You'll notice that when I put that nail in there, I'm pounding it in the wood, and the head is just holding the steel on. And that's because it would be easy to take it off in case there's some reason this isn't accurate. It'd be easy to take it off. But there it looks like we're about 1.5 inches off that line all the way down. So I'll put a couple more nails in here, hold this, but I'm not going to nail it off until I'm absolutely sure. Okay, so I have the drip edge on. I think it's pretty much 1.5 inches off that red line all the way across. So now I guess I'll go get a metal saw blade and we'll cut some roofing. First thing I have to do is check and make sure that all the overlaps and underlaps are on the same side. These particular panels that I got, somebody else loaded from Home Depot, and the underlap panel, or underlap seam, each one was opposite. So if I would cut that, then they would all be different cuts. I've turned them all around, so the underlap is on this side, the overlap is on that side. Second thing is to analyze and think about where most of your bad weather comes from. In our particular case, on this chicken shed, this wall right here is going to be facing to the southwest, which is where the majority of our weather comes in the wintertime. It comes in off of the Pacific Ocean, comes from the southwest, and rain beats down. We want our overlap going away from this edge, from this wall. That way the rain is getting pushed over the overlap and not up under the overlap. So I don't know if that makes sense. So in this particular case, if that's the eave side and this is the peak side, that means that the underlap would be towards this wall. So these are in the correct way. Also, when I cut it, I want to make the cut at the peak and not at the eave. I don't want to have a rough cut here down at this edge where you see the rough cut. Up at that edge, you're not going to be able to see it because it'll have a piece of metal over it. So we want to cut at the eave and at the peak and not at the eave. So in this particular case, if we took this panel and we just flipped it up so that this end was up there at the peak, then the overlap would be on that side, so it would be going away from the weather, and this would be the side we'd want to cut. I did measure about 116. I want to allow an extra 1.5 inches to lap down over. Actually, I think I'll allow about another 2 inches to lap down over this drip edge down here. So I'll make it 118, and we'll hope for the best. So to change this blade out, first of all, don't have it plugged in. But this little wrench goes in here. So this is where it's normally stored, in here. So we'll pull that wrench out, and then here's a little button right here that will lock the blade. So you push that in. Okay, so I've got it pushed in. Now you see the blade is locked. So now what I'll do is I'll turn it over and then undo the screw, take this blade off, and put the metal cutting blade on. Okay, so I've got that on now. I'm going to push that in. There we go. Now we're locked. And these are reverse threaded. So typically, when you would try to unscrew this, you'd go counterclockwise. But in this particular case, you want to go clockwise. There we go. Now there's a little cap that goes on there. And this comes off, and you can see there that it's a diamond shape rather than a round. Lay that down. Here we've got the direction of this blade should be going in this direction. So we want to put it on. This blade cuts this way, or this saw cuts this way. This blade needs to go in that direction. Get the diamond to line up. There's the diamond lined up. Put this little cover on there. And then screw this back in a counterclockwise direction. And then I will tighten this. Hold that little button in so it locks the shaft. Let's try this one. Okay, I think that's on there tight. And then make sure to put this back, or else you'll wonder where it is next time. So now I am thinking that we want to turn these over. So I want to cut from the back side. So that's what I'll do now. I'll go 118. Air National Guard protecting our airspace. Well, here's a little tip. Little known fact, but years ago I was in the Oregon Air National Guard for 6 years, and I served heroically in Oregon, Idaho, Washington, and Alaska. Spent 2 weeks in Alaska. That was really quite the trip. That was really nice. Oregon Air National Guard got a warm spot in my heart. I'm going to try to line these up so we know where our holes are, and right now that's at about 67, I think. And so if you follow that line all the way down, that should be our nail line. We've got the same thing up on those. I'm not sure we're going to put screws here, but we will at that 34 mark. And then we'll go check this spot. Okay. All right, so go down and we'll drill these puppies. See how straight that drip edge is. Okay, so we got the roofing cut and put up there. It's held down with a few screws here and there. We'll screw it off tomorrow. It's noon. It's getting hot. Let's see how hot it is. 82. It says 82 here. So it's supposed to be 100 today, and that's too hot for me. So there's our metal roof. Looks like we got it on there pretty straight. It's straight. Not bad. Looks pretty nice. I thought we had measured it so that there would be a rib at this end, but obviously we were off. I thought we had measured the overhang, the outrigger overhang, so that we would have a rib right there, but looks like we're off about 3 or 4 inches. Oh well, we're gonna put an edge metal on there so it'll cover that up. But well, yesterday afternoon I went and looked at a Grizzly 15-inch planer that a friend from church is trying to sell or wants to sell, and it's an older one. I think it's from 97 or something like that, so it's a little older, but it's a 15-inch planer, Grizzly, and hoping to pick that up on Thursday perhaps. In the meantime, I'm gonna go inside, sit by the air conditioner, get cooled off, have something cold to drink, have some lunch, and then probably go take my little afternoon nap. That's a little secret, so don't tell anybody. So if you enjoyed today's video, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and we'll let you know next time we put a video out. Thanks a lot for coming along on our chicken coop build. Your help to us if you've subscribed and if you like us. Thank you very much. We'll catch you next time. Let's see if you can see that plane off in the distance. That looks like it could be a DC-10, or that's a big one. So he's going to go out, probably out toward Mount Hood, take a left-hand turn, and then head back to the Portland International Airport. So that means that he'll be going out almost probably to Mount Hood, making that turn, and going back and coming back into Portland International Airport.